So I've not been in the 60s for very long, but I have to admit it's been very surprising. I live alone, and I think that was the very first surprise for me, because I always envisioned my latter years, my 60s, 70s and 80s and hopefully beyond, living with a partner, and that's not happened. So that's my very first surprise. But I also thought that I would be graciously striding into older age, and that's not really happened. This decade has been full of surprises and, quite frankly, some shocks that I just wasn't prepared for. And I think talking about these surprises and having a conversation with others of a similar age can be very insightful, because I think each of us is going through similar processes and changes, but also they might be completely different, or people might have got their changes and everything that goes along with getting older at different levels, especially men and women. I'm sure that it's a completely different experience from both sides. So let's jump in. The first thing that I want to talk about is the physical side of getting older. I was not prepared for my body to actually have a very significant change from 59 to 60. Now, of course, being a woman, I've just been through the menopause in my 50s. So that had brought a lot of changes. So you are kind of geared up for the physical changes. But when I reached 60, I can say that I honestly noticed a couple of things that I wasn't expecting so quickly. I didn't think that I would get the thinning hair, for example, until I was at least in my mid-70s or 80s. That was a bit of a shock. I mean, it doesn't look so bad, and I guess I'm lucky in some ways, but it is getting thinner. So I've got my list of the things that I want to talk about, and right at the very top is my joints, especially my hand joints, and especially this hand, this thumb. I'd noticed going through the menopause that I was getting a lot of aches and pains, but not as bad as they are now. Luckily, I'm keeping a lot of it under control using supplements. But this thumb joint here, and I guess these joints here and on here, do you notice that if you happen to, I don't know, push yourself up out of a chair and you happen to put more pressure on one particular joint, I mean, it's just one of those things that happens, and it aches, and it really, really aches. And I also noticed that when my hands get really cold, and it's obviously coming into winter, autumn and winter now, when my hands get cold, they really ache. And I'm not just talking like a minor kind of niggle. I'm talking about really painful ache. So I have my gloves, which I'll just pop over and get. Okay, I'm back. Oh, that's in a very awkward place there. Right. So what I use when my hands get cold, especially when I'm sitting at my desk, in that corner over there where my desk is, for some reason it can get quite chilly. And I know that it's probably because I'm sitting still for long periods of time, and I do understand that. But these are the gloves that I wear that I find really, really helpful. I don't know whether these little black dots, I think they're supposed to be magnetic. I mean, I'm the jury's out as to whether I'm convinced that's working, but the fact that they are slightly compressing and, you know, slide onto your hands like that, I find they are not constricting because they're quite thin, and they're not dirty. That's a bit of a shadow, I think. And they're, you know, they only go up to, so I find those really, really helpful when I'm working. So, and that's a tip if anybody's getting the same thing. But yeah, I have had the tighter compressive ones, but I don't like those so much on my hands. I find them too tight, to be honest. And I did grab my supplement that I use. I use the turmeric supplements. So they're got ginger and black pepper in them, but they are very high quality. So that's my, I think, what I would call my worst acorn pain. And I know for some, others have got much worse. So I'm very, very lucky. But the second thing, and I've spoken about this before, is my eyesight is getting worse every optician's visit. The last time I went, and I've said this on a lot of occasions because it really worries me, is that I have the beginnings of cataracts. When it's getting darker like this, it's lucky that I don't have to drive in the dark, because I find lights from other cars and the reflections when you're driving at night, I can't handle them. They kind of, my perception of them is that they are like shadows, so they can give an optical illusion. I just do not like driving at night, which hence why I don't go anywhere anymore. It is worrying me anyway. That's one of my big worries. So one of the obvious changes, I think this is probably going to affect women more than men, but I might be proven wrong, is having to get up to go to the toilet more than once in the night. And it disturbs your sleep and it drives me crazy, but there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. I try not to drink a couple of hours before I go to bed, but you can't have, you've got to wet your mouth, if you like. You can't go to bed feeling thirsty, because that's going to keep me awake. I've got it down to 2, sometimes 1 if I'm very, very lucky. I find now that I'm going to bed earlier and earlier. It is not unknown for me to just say, right, I think 6:30 has been my earliest, where I've just wanted to get into bed and curl up. No, I don't go to sleep straight away. I sit and either watch television in bed or get my laptop out and do some work on my channel, or watch some videos, or something like that. I do something whilst I'm in bed. But just the luxury of being able to get into bed as early as I want to is nothing more than an absolute luxury for me. I enjoy that. Most of the time, though, I'm in bed before 8:30, I think, most days now. But that has surprised me too. Is going to bed early a big luxury for you? Now that we don't have to look after kids and living alone, I don't have to look after anybody else either. I can do exactly what I want, and that's if I want to go to bed at 6:30, I will go to bed at 6:30. Grey hairs. Well, you can see I've got a line now. I'm going to have to colour my hair again soon, but the grey seems to be getting greyer quicker. And that is costing me a little bit more with the product that I'm having to use. I don't go to a hairdresser and get it done, because that's an absolute fortune. But yeah, the grey seems to be getting greyer much, much quicker in my 60s. And I don't know whether that's a surprise to me or whether that's just a fact. I mean, it's not something you think about in your 20s. How quickly am I going to go grey, is it? But yeah, that does seem to be happening a lot quicker now. And of course, the age spots on your hands. Actually, they're not particularly pronounced on here today, but I've got age spots on my face. I think I'm pretty lucky, actually, that I don't have as many as other people. And of course, the wrinkles are always there. And again, I think I'm fairly lucky. I don't have that many, but yet, but other people do. So, I'm not moaning. This is just a fact of what I'm seeing in front of me about what's happening whilst I'm in my 60s. I find my sense of smell and taste have changed a lot. I'm more of a savoury snack person than I ever have been. I always used to be quite a sweet, I'd like a sweet snack rather than a savoury snack, but now it's become more savoury. But I have noticed that the meals that I used to enjoy, I now find them a tad bland. So I'm having to put more flavourings into them to get them to the stage where I enjoy them again. I made a shepherd's pie yesterday, I think. Well, yeah, yesterday. And I found I had to put some chili flakes in it. And I'm not a chili lover by any means, but it tasted a bit bland with all of the flavourings that I'd put in and the gravy and stuff like that. It still tasted, or the stock, not the gravy, that I'd put in. It still tasted a little bit bland to me. And I don't want to keep on adding salt, because too much salt is bad for you. So I thought chili flakes, but it just shows you, doesn't it, that taste and smell does get worse and quicker than I was expecting. Hearing, well, I've always had good hearing. Well, I suppose everybody can say that. They can't. You don't notice that you've got bad hearing, do you, unless something happens. But I've got, this ear is not as good as this one. And the reason I know that is because, you know, if you close your ear up, I can hear more with that one on that side than I can if I do the same on that side. It's muffled, and I can tell it's muffled. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. And if I need to, I'll get a hearing aid anyway. But I'm going to keep an eye on it because my mum is deaf. you know, the first thing she'll say when you sit down is, "Hey," you know, I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, but not so far so good on that one. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about how I feel on the mentality side of getting older. Mentality side? The mental side? The mind. So as you're getting older, or as I'm getting older, the one thing that I have found that has happened that I actually really, really like, but I know it freaks a lot of other people out. And that's when you get to the stage where you become invisible to other people. So, you know, if you're out on a shopping street, high street, or even walking around a big supermarket, you almost become invisible. Nobody looks at you at all. But now that I've become invisible, I really like that because I'm an introvert and I don't want to stand out to anybody at any time. So this invisibility, I'm feeling it's a bit like a superpower. So I'm all for that one. What do you think about that? Do you feel invisible in your 60s or even 70s or 80s? Do you feel invisible? Do you hate it or do you like it? Now in my 60s, I find that my priorities have shifted quite dramatically. I now no longer feel that I'm having to prove myself to anybody anymore. In fact, I don't care to prove myself to anybody. I know who I am, and if they can't see it, then that's down to them. I'm happy as me. I'm happy in my skin. I'm happy as myself, and I don't feel that I need to prove my worth to anybody. I gave my career up, or at least I think I would say I stopped climbing the ladder rather than I gave it up. I stopped climbing the ladder and I stayed at a certain level because that was my comfort zone. And then I started my business. So now I'm self-employed. I don't even have a career path to be on. I've got to the summit of the pinnacle that I wanted to achieve. And I'm happy with that. In fact, I'm very proud of what I've achieved with my business and where I got in my career. Material things, I am just not interested in keeping up with the Joneses or having the best of everything or having the best of what you can afford. I'm just not materialistic anymore. I mean, I've not ever been really a big materialistic person at all. As long as I had enough, I was happy. If I could buy what I wanted when I wanted it, I was happy. And now I find that, you know, in your 60s, you've bought everything that you want. You don't need to have the latest, well, I don't need to have the latest phone. My phone does exactly what that phone does, except it doesn't have bells and whistles, and I'm more than happy with that. You know, and I don't own my own home, and I've got past that. That no longer bothers me. It did at the beginning, but it no longer bothers me. You know, I just am not worried about materialistic possessions any longer, and I love that. I feel a kind of freedom that I'm not having to worry about what other people think about whether they look down on me for other things, for certain things, for the way I look, for the way that I have my hair, or for the, you know, my glasses aren't designer, my shoes aren't designer, you know, my phone's not designer, my car isn't the latest car, it's very old now. And I don't care. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's one of the best things about being in your 60s. Being a mum was my very top priority. And now that my kids are grown with their own kids and they're settled and they're happy and they're healthy, the relief of not having to worry about them is another surprise that I found in my 60s. Everybody is different, so I'm only talking about myself and my own opinions here. I brought my children up to be independent of me. I believe that that's what a good mother should do, is to make them independent and be able to look after themselves. I also did, say to them, if you ever need me, I'm here. And don't get me wrong, I didn't push them out the door as soon as they turned 18 by any means, but that was the way that I was brought up, to be completely independent, and that's the way that I brought my children up. Now, I know a lot of people are different to this, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it at all. But for me, the relief of not having to worry about them every single day is, it's so freeing for me not to have that. I do worry about certain things. I worry about the world that they're going into in their latter years. I worry about my grandchildren's future, what the world is going to look like for them, and obviously my great-grandchildren if they come along. But beyond that, I mean, I have absolutely no control over it, so I can't worry about it. So I don't speak to my children on a daily basis. Sometimes I don't speak to some of them on a weekly basis. Has been known to be monthly, but that to me shows that they are happy and healthy without me, and that's what gives me the sense of achievement and a sense of fulfillment that I did what I set out to do. That's not to say that if they needed me I wouldn't drop everything and go running to them, because I absolutely would do. And yeah, I know that some people are going to totally disagree with me, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Part of it does stem from the fact that my ex-husband was not the most brilliant father in the world. I practically was a single parent, and I did everything for them. I gave 1,000% to my children. I did everything, absolutely everything for them. There's not one thing that I can think that he did. He might have occasionally gone to pick them up from school. He might occasionally have turned up to their birthday parties. He might occasionally have taken them to a birthday party. But until we split up, he had never been in total, full, responsible care of them. Because I did give 1,000% to my children, now I feel that I have a right to step away from them a little bit. So make of that what you will, but that's my thoughts on how I feel. In my 60s now, in fact, for quite a while now, probably 40s and 50s, I'm just not interested in drama or gossip or conflict. I hate arguing with anybody. I'm beginning to feel that if you have to have an argument with somebody and not a discussion, then the two people are failing in a communication point of view. So I'm less likely to lose my temper and flare up and have an argument with anybody. I'm more likely to say, let's just sit down and talk about this. And that's great. I mean, how much growth is that? I wish I could have been a bit more like that in my 20s and 30s. And finally, I choose peace over socializing. I did go to a party recently, a family do, and that's probably going to do me until Christmas. I'm been invited to my daughter's for Christmas because she says she doesn't like the thought of me sitting home alone on Christmas Day, whereas I would be quite happy with it, but I've agreed to go and have Christmas Day with her. So that's going to be my next big social event. But yes, I would rather have a one-to-one visit with people now rather than having a big family do. And so coming on to my final thoughts on how I feel about being in my 60s, it's the feeling of the sudden urgency and the need to plan for my last 2 or 3 decades. It's suddenly hit me, and I'm sure this was when I was 60, it suddenly hit me that I didn't have long left. Not long as in, you've got to 60, so 60 years behind, you've not got another 60 years ahead. Quite a lot. It's going to go really quickly, because I find now the days absolutely fly past. And I'm recording this and the clock is saying it's 4:05 in the afternoon and it's getting dark. So I don't know where the day has gone. And I'm aware of the weeks and the months and the years passing very quickly now. I mean, we're nearly at the end of 2025 and I've got absolutely no idea where that year's gone. So it's been a bit of a surprise to me that I really want to pack in as much to my final years as I possibly can do. I know I can't be the only one. I'm not even retired yet, but I'm still trying to get my act together so that, when I'm 85 and sitting in a care home, or if I'm 90, like my mum, 91, and I'm in a care home, I can sit there and think, you did what you wanted to do. You didn't leave any stone unturned. And that's a life well lived as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not coming at it from a morbid or depressing viewpoint. And if it does upset you, then I'm sorry. But for me, I want to take control of the rest of my life as much as I possibly can. And I know that things happen, health could decline, an accident could happen, anything could happen between now and my end of days. But if I can at least do what I plan to do, as well as any extras that I haven't planned to do, then that's what I'm aiming to do. And also I am trying hard not to look back on my life and think about the things I wish I hadn't done. I think I spent a lot of my 50s regretting decisions, regretting relationships, regretting allowing people to get away with things. And sometimes it made me feel quite depressed about the things that I'd done that I wouldn't do now, I wouldn't have allowed people to get away with. Knowing what I now know, and this is called hindsight, but knowing what I know now, I would have left my ex-husband much, much earlier. I wouldn't have got involved with a certain person. And again, I wouldn't have moved to Kent. I might have moved to Kent, but I might have asked a few more questions and things. So, the three main relationships that I've had in my life, I have questions over them, but I try not to look back and have regret, because there's no point in doing that. It's done, it's dusted, it's behind me. So I want to look forward now and keep moving forward with my life. And now I feel that I'm 61. I feel that I finally stopped replaying all of the bad parts of my life and actually just let it go. It's taken a while to get there, and I think that's some growth within me, getting me to the point where I can accept the decisions that I made that were bad, and move forward with it. Now I also find that I have a lot more confidence and I care less. I now find that with this newfound confidence and lack of worrying about what people think about me, it's made my life a lot more liberating. Having the freedom to do exactly what I want when I want, well, within reason, because I'm not a millionaire. I can't drop everything and go on holiday or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. I have the freedom to do what I want, and that is proving to be very liberating for me and mentally freeing. And I am now beginning to feel happy deep down. So I think this is the next few years, the next decades, I am gonna become the happiest I've ever been, I think, apart from obviously the big occasions in my life. But being happy within myself is what I'm aiming to do, being able to get to. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I spent a long time being unhappy with certain situations and certain times of my life, and I don't want to end my life feeling like that. So I feel good about where my life is heading at the moment. So to sum up, I think all I want to say is that I feel very lucky to wake up every day. I feel very lucky that I've got to 61. And I hope I don't get emotional now. But a few of my friends did not make it to 61. So, and a friend's husband has not made it into his later years of his 60s, and it makes me sad, but it also makes me so thankful that I have got here, and there's no reason why I won't live longer. And sometimes I feel that because they weren't able to live in their, get to their 60s and beyond, I feel that I need to live for them in a certain way, to make the most of my life, so that, to be grateful for it, not to just cruise along and moan and groan and well, just be ungrateful for the life that I'm living. I'm breathing. I get up every day. I'm mobile. I have my own business. I have a car. I have my own flat. I'm independent. There is so much that I've got going for me. So I absolutely refuse to be moaning and groaning about it. And I want to look forward to the future and not look back, and be grateful for what I have. It's exciting for me, actually. I think I am happy and excited to be moving forward in my 60s. So now I'd like to hear from you. This is a two-way conversation. Although this is a video and you're seeing a recording of me, I would love to hear your viewpoint. How are you feeling if you're in your 60s now, or have been in your 60s? What's your take on your life? Are you happy with it? Are there things that you still need to change? Or are you looking forward to the next part of your life? You're moving forward to 70. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. You have been so open and transparent about your life in some of my other videos in the comments, and it's very humbling to hear your stories. And to know that I'm not alone as well, and that you actually like watching my videos, because it just gives me the incentive to keep making them and to get better at it as well. I hope I'm getting better anyway. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet now. This is your turn to speak. So you tell me how you're feeling at the moment in the comments. So I'm going to sign off now. If you've liked the video, then please click the like button. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You're getting better, because my subscribers against non-subscribers is climbing. So that's always good to see. And of course, I have a membership now. I'm not doing very well with it, I don't think. So I'm going to try harder with that one. But thank you to the 3 members that I do have at the moment. It's difficult to know what to post in the membership. So if you've got any ideas, then again, please let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching this far. I hope you have a lovely week, and please stay warm, because this is a blooming cold day today. I've gone out and I didn't wear my big winter coat, so I got cold. So yeah, stay warm, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.